Okay guys, hey, we picked up this piece of basically a felling saw, a two-man felling crosscut saw. You find them in the antique shops, without the handles. They're going to be somewhere in the $10 to $15 range, and it's awesome knife making steel. It seems to spark test somewhere in the tens, so like 1080 range. It's a springy steel too, so it's got a lot of flexibility to it. I typically might or might not heat treat this. Depends. Once I get it cut out and ground, I'll test it for hardness, and if I haven't done anything to it, I'll just go through a couple of tempering cycles. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a bushcraft knife today. This is one of my patterns, and I'm going to take you quickly through the process. So this is going to be a quick ride, guys. Basically, I'm just going to hit the highlights of it. I'm going to explain the process, my workflow, and yeah. So stay with me, and here we go. This is why we're called blade scrounger. This is the kind of steels that we use when we make knives. Okay, guys, so here's step one. Basically, take the pattern, which is a piece of 1/8 inch aluminum that I've got plenty of scrap of, and I make my patterns from. And what we're going to do is just trace it. As you can see, I have on a heavy cardstock of smooth paper. Next step is to cut the pattern out, and you're going to see I have a trick here. We're going to spray adhesive this to the steel so that when we basically, after we've got the rough cutout done, I'm going to grind to this white pattern. It's easy to see, makes it a lot quicker for me, and so that's the first step. Let's get this thing lopped off right here. I mean, we've got it roughly marked out, and I'm just going to cut this out on a bandsaw really quick. It's oversized. And then we'll spray adhesive that pattern piece to it, let it tack up and dry, and then we're going to grind. So really quick process, and but that's how I do it. Okay guys, I decided to cheat. And I started thinking about, a lot of guys have grinders, and a lot of guys don't have bandsaws. So we're going to do this the simplest way I can do it, and it's actually one of the quickest ways. So yeah, just roughed out with the grinder. Now what I'm going to do is go inside and we'll start the process of getting this thing ready to go to the real grinders, the 2x72 inch grinders I have. Okay guys, but yeah, low tech, does a great job. Alrighty guys, so here it is. There's the rough cut piece of steel. There's the pattern. There's the paper pattern. And what we're going to do is we're going to spray the paper. We're going to clean this up with some acetone first, let it dry. Then we're going to spray down the metal and apply the pattern. And then we'll start the grinding process. So what I use is, I'll throw it up here so you can see it. It's 3M Super 77. It's a multi-purpose adhesive. It works great. I've never had a problem with it. Just got to remember to invert the can and spray out until you just get the propellant coming out at the end, or you're going to have a real rough time cleaning out the nozzle. Okay guys, so not going to bother showing you that. We're just going to do it, and then we'll get down to the grinder. Okay guys, we're using a 60 grit belt. And this is a Wilton Square D grinder, 2 inch by 72 inch. I'm going to do it really slow so I don't overheat the metal. As you can see, I've kind of pulled this edge back where I had cut it in case I had overheated it. I'm going to be grinding most of that out. So yeah, it's going to get loud, and I'm going to just do this part quickly, and then we're going to go to the next machine. Okay, as you can see, we've got a fairly ground out blade. This radius is a little too tight for this machine. So I'm going to swap machines out and we'll get this final radius done. And you can see the pattern stayed tight, stayed nice in place. I let it set up for like maybe 10-15 minutes. But yeah, that was a nice easy squaring up of the knife blank. And we get this one final radius to do, and I use a different machine for that, so I'm going to show you that setup in just a second. So bear with me. Alright guys, so this is a head that I put on another different 2x72 grinder that I've got. And in this case, this one has an interchangeable set of radiuses, so I can pretty much dial in whatever the radius is I want to cut into the blade. So at any rate, it's a quick operation. We're going to go right now. And as you can see, it's taking it down, but I have to kind of watch myself to make sure I maintain it square. There are horizontal machines, and this one can be made to run horizontally and flip on its side, and then the basically the grinding platform is set up parallel to the belt and does a really nice job of keeping everything square. But this is, I think you can see I'm getting it pretty close right there, and it's nice and square. I've learned that if I keep on looking at it, you know, and keeping the work perpendicular to the belt, I get there. So as you can see, that's about perfect. Now I want to hit this edge, which is the same radius, just a little bit. And again, you can see it's coming together pretty nice. It's almost polished right out. That is perfect. I'm just gonna clean up a little bit here. Take these points down a little bit. Yeah. Hey, we got a blank, guys. All right, let's go back upstairs. We'll put this back on the table and reveal what we've done so far. And then I'll show you the tools we're going to use for the next step. All right, guys, so you saw the roughed out piece of metal, and you also saw that we hacked it apart pretty much with a grinder, you know, and then we went downstairs and went to the big boys, and they make all the difference. I mean, you saw how fast that takes. So yeah, let's see if we can peel this thing off. Probably not. That's how good it sticks, but yeah, there you go. I think you can see that, you know, let's throw a piece of white paper here. I think you can see that we nailed it. So okay, I'm going to go on to the next step, which is to explain to you how I'm going to set up to grind this knife. And it took me a long time. I mean, I can freehand, but for the average Joe getting started with grinders, I think I'm going to show you a jig, basically 2 jigs. It'll make life really easy, quick. In order to grind out this blade and get it where I want it, so far as, you know, the actual grind line that we're going to create, you know, it's about a, I don't know, 20-minute process. That's it. So if we were to break this apart, cutting this piece out was probably 10 minutes, you know, start to finish, and you just saw the full length of what it took to square this up and turn it into a blank. So yeah, you know, 20 more minutes, we're going to have pretty much a blade, and then I'm going to have to, you know, drill my holes and get my scales on it, and of course I'm going to clean the surface rust off of it. But it goes pretty quick, and it makes a really nice knife. And I don't know if you noticed the spark trail, but that to me looked like 1080 does. It's a brighter spark than L6, which is the other material that they use to make these blades. That's a darker, redder colored spark, and it still has the same trail though. I mean, it almost looks like fireworks going off as the filings come away and cool off, so they kind of explode. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go grab the jig. Let's explain that and the 2 jigs that we're going to be using. So I'll be right back.